Good afternoon. This is the last session of the 24 hours of the Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. Today we're going to be reviewing the 23rd and the 24th hour of the Passion. But before we do that, Guadalupe is going to give us like a little review of the last hours that we meditated last week. So I'll let Guadalupe.
Thank you, Mirta. Good evening and good night. Let's have a briefing on the last meditation of the 19 to the 22 hours of the Passion that Gabby shared with us the last session. In the 19th hour, we learned to see the cross and our crosses in a different way. I will mention some. In volume 1966 from November 18, 1913. First, in the divine will, the cross is formed when the human will is opposed to the divine will. Otherwise, both parts of the cross go in parallel. Second, the cross sanctifies and crucifies part of the person, while the divine will does not spare anything, and this is the cross for us. The divine will sanctifies everything, crucifies thoughts, desires, will, affection, heart, everything in us. When Jesus opens his holy mouth on the cross, the first word is forgiveness. In volume 14 from November 16, 1922, Jesus says to Luisa and to any of us, "My will puts the words of absolution on the way, to absolve whomever wants to be absolved, and to forgive whoever wants forgiveness. My will takes all, not one alone, but those who are disposed take more than anyone." This is something that we should do, have it like ear in the, like earrings in the ear. On the cross, Jesus repairs for those who are dying. Let's repair with him for them every day. Let's give thanks, all our gratitude to Jesus in the cross. He gave us the most beloved person for him in this earth, his mother, portent of grace. On the cross, we owe something to Jesus. Will we need to unite with him in a way that we too can feel the pain of Jesus for the abandonment of his children? When Jesus says on the cross, "I thirst," he's saying to me and every one of us, "I thirst for your will, for your affections, for your desires, for your love. A water fresher and sweeter than your soul you could not give me," he says to us. "Oh, please, do not let me burn. My thirst is ardent, such that I not only feel my throat, but my bowels, my heart." And he teaches us what to do. He abandoned himself to the will of the Father. Let's imitate him. When Jesus says, "All is consummated," remember his love is fire. We all are consummated in his fire of love. With that, he remakes us. Jesus' final word remarks the importance of everything in our life, good or bad, to let in the hands of God. He, our Creator, knows better what is better to our soul. And what is more unbelievable is that in the same lecture, he says that he had delivered us when The same Jesus answers, I delivered them on the cross, on the bed of my bitter pains, among atrocious spasms, in the last breath of my life. As I die, they were born again to new life, all sealed and marked with the whole work of my humanity. Not content with having given them a new birth, I gave to each one everything I had done so as to keep them sheltered in unsafe. Do we know that? Had we living with this thought? So, this is the meaning of the cross for us. It is our spiritual delivery room. And this is something we should to remember. So, this is what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you so much, Guadalupe. Now let's go with Leticia. She's the one who's going to talk about the 23rd and 24th hour of the Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mirta. So yes, we are going to meditate the last 2 hours, the 23rd and the 24th hour of the Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. Let's start with a recall. We're going to recall a reading from the Book of Heaven, volume 1255, on July 12, 1918. And I would like to recall the effects of the Passion of Jesus. And Jesus speaks to Luisa, and he said, my daughter, why do you fear? Don't you know that for each word of my passion, for each thought, compassion, reparation, memory of my pains, as many ways of electricity of communication are open between me and the soul. And therefore, the soul keeps adorning herself with as many varieties of beauties. She has done the hours of my passion, and I will receive her as a daughter of my passion, clothed with my blood, and adorned with my wounds. This flower has grown inside your heart, and I bless it and receive it in my heart as a favorite flower. And it's good to recall very often on the effects of the Passion of Jesus. The 23rd hour, from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Jesus dead is pierced by the thrust of the lance, the disposition from the cross. The first part of it is Jesus dead is pierced by the thrust of the lance. My dead Jesus. All nature has sent out a cry of sorrow. At last, your breath and has cried over your sorrowful death, recognizing you as its creator. The angels, thousands upon thousands, hover around the cross and cry over your death. They adore you as our true God and accompany you to the limbo, where you go to beatify many souls who have been utterly longing for you for centuries upon centuries. And Lisa said, oh my Jesus, what can love not do? Love is life, and with my love, I want to give you life. And if mine is not enough, give me your love. With your love, I will be able to do anything. Yes, I will be able to give life to your most holy humanity. Oh, my Jesus, even after your death, you want to show me that you love me, prove your love for me, and give me a refuge, a shelter in your sacred heart. Therefore, pushed by a supreme force to be assured of your death, a soldier rips your heart open with a lance, opening a profound wound. And you, my love, shed the last drops of blood and water contained in your inflamed heart. Oh, how many things does this wound open, my love, tell me. And if your mouth is mute, your heart speaks to me. And I hear it said, my child, after I gave everything, I want this land to open a shelter for all souls inside this heart of mine. Open it will cry out to all continuously. Come in if you want to be safe. In this heart, you will find my sanctity, and you will make yourself saints. You will find relief in affliction, strength in weakness, peace in doubts, and company in abandonments. Everything is centered in this heart. And this is very important to recall. And it says, here are the sacraments, here my church, here the life of my church, and the life of all souls. Therefore, my child, your life be in this heart. Defend me, bring me everyone in, repair me, and bring me everyone into it. I pray that, and Luisa said, I pray that you too, with your own hands, wound my heart, my affections, my desires, all of myself, that there be nothing in me which is not wounded by your love. I unite everything to a hoarding pains of our dear mother, who for the pain of seeing your heart being ripped open, falls into a swoon of sorrow and love, and like a dove, she flies in it to take the first place, to be the first repairer, the queen of your very heart, the mediatrix between you and the creatures. So as you can see, with this act, Jesus explained to Luisa in the Book of Heaven, Volume 12, 79, January 27, 1919, the three mortal wounds of the heart of Jesus. And he says, there are three wounds which give me mortal pains and such bitterness of sorrow as to surpass all of other wounds together. The first one is when I see a soul, all mine, suffering because of me, torture, trample upon, ready to suffer even the most painful death for me. I feel her pains as if they were my own, and maybe even more. It says, into this first womb enter my dear mother as the first. Oh, how her heart, pierced because of my pains, overflowed into mine, and felt vividly all of its piercings. And in seeing her dying, yet not dying because of my death, I felt the torment, the hardness of her martyrdom in my heart. And I felt the pains of my death, which the heart of my dear mother felt. And my heart died together with hers. So all of my pains united together before the pains of my mother surpassed everything. I was right that my celestial mother had the first place in my heart, both in sorrow and in love, because each pain suffered for love of me, opened a seas of graces and of love, which poured into her pierced heart. Into this womb enter all the souls who suffer because of me, and out of pure love. He mentions that a soul who loves me and who suffers for me, it's all my contentment, my happiness, my reward for everything I have done. How beautiful it is to suffer for Jesus. Then he says, it makes me pain, highest joy, unspeakable bitterness and indescribable sweetness, painful death and glorious life. He also mentioned that the second mortal wound of his heart, it says, the second mortal wound of my heart is ingratitude. With ingratitude, the creature closes my heart. She herself turns the key with double locks. And the third one is obstinacy. What mortal womb for my heart? Obstinacy is the destruction of all the goods I have done for the creature. It is the signature of declaration that the creature places, that she no longer recognizes me, that she no longer belongs to me. And he points out, my daughter, enter into my heart and take part in these wombs of mine. Compassionate, my tormented heart. Let us suffer together and let us pray. I enter into his heart. How painful but beautiful it was to suffer and pray with Jesus. The second part of the 23rd hour is the deposition from the cross. It says, my Jesus, I see your disciples hasten to dispose you from the cross. Joseph and Nicodemus, who have remained hidden until now with courage and without fearing anything, now want to give you an honorable burial. Luisa said, I too want to help your disciples to sustain your most holy body. And with the nails they remove from you, nail me completely to yourself. With your holy mother, I want to adore you and kiss you, and then enclose myself in your heart, never to leave again. And I want to recall from the Book of Heaven, Volume 9, 36, from July 4, 1910, the greatness and sublimeness of death. And it says, that is something great, something sublime. And this happens also for my own children. In life, they are despised, oppressed, those very virtues, which like light should make those who are around them start, remain half-veiled. Their heroism in suffering, their abnegation, their seal of souls, cast lights and doubts in those who surround them. And I myself permit these veils so as to preserve with more safety the virtue of my dear children. But as soon as they die, I withdraw these veils, since they are no longer necessary, and the doubts become certainties. The light becomes clear, and this light makes others appreciate their heroism. They pay esteem to everything, even to the smallest things. Therefore, what cannot be done in life is made up for death. What are the lessons that we can recall from this hour? After his death, Jesus wanted to be wounded by a lance for the love of us. And with this act, we must ask ourselves, do we let ourselves be wounded in everything by the love of Jesus? Or do we rather let ourselves be wounded by the love of creatures, by pleasures, and by attachment to ourselves? Besides coldness, obscurity, and mortification, both internal and external, are wounds that the Lord makes to the soul. If we do not take them from the hands of God, we wound ourselves, and our wounds increase passions, weakness, and self-esteem. In a word, every evil. However, if we take them as wounds borne by Jesus, he will place his love, his virtues, his likeness in these wounds, which will make us deserve his kisses, his caresses, and all the stratagems of divine love. These wounds will be continuous voices that will call him and for him to dwell with us continuously. When Jesus allows himself to be deposed from the cross into the arms of his mother, with this act, we must ask ourselves, do we deposit all of our fears, our doubts, and our anxieties in the arms of our Divine Mother? While Jesus rested on the lap of his Divine Mother, do we let Jesus rest by casting away our fears and our agitations? I will pray, O my Jesus, may your lance be guard which defends me from any wound of creatures. Celestial Mother, with your maternal hands removed from my heart, that may prevent Jesus from resting in mine. Now we will recall the 24-hour from 40 p.m. to 5 p.m., the burial of Jesus, Most Holy Desolate Mary. And let's read a section on the Book of Heaven, volume 1180, October 1914. The value and effects of the hour of the Passion and the recompense that Jesus will give to those who do them. And basically, this passage over here, it's kind of like Luisa was not doing the 24-hour frequently. She was undecided to do this hour. And this is what Jesus told Luisa. And it says, I was undecided about whether I should do it or not. And bless Jesus, all love, as thought praying to me told me, my daughter, I do not want you to omit it. You will do it for the love of me, in honor of my mother. Know that every time you do it, my mama feels as if she were on earth in person, repeating her life, and therefore she received that glory and love which she gave me while on earth. And I feel as my mother were on earth again, her maternal tenderness, her love, and all the glory that she gave me. So I will consider you as a mother. And I would like to point that from that time on, held by his grace, I have never omitted again. The burial of Jesus. My sorrowful mama, I see that you dispose yourself to the final sacrifice of having you give burial to your lifeless son, Jesus. Most resigned to the will of God, you accompany him and you place him in this sepulcher with your own hand. And she hears Mama's, Mother Mary's trembling voice saying, beloved son, oh son, this was the only relief which was left me and which halved my pains, your most holy humanity. Pouring myself out on these wombs, adoring them, kissing them. Now this is taken away from me because the divine will wants it so, and I resign myself. But no, son, that I want it, I cannot. At the mere thought of doing it, my strength leave me and life runs away from me. Oh, please, oh, son, so that I may have life and strength to be able to depart. Allow me to remain all buried in you and to take for myself your life, your pains, your reparation, and all that you are. Only an exchange of life between you and me can give me the strength to make the sacrifice of departing from you. My afflicted mama, I see that you go through those limbs again, and you place your head in the head of Jesus, kissing it. You enclose in it your thoughts, and you take yourself his thorns, his afflicted and offended thoughts, and everything he suffered in his most holy head. Sorrowful mama, I see you kiss the lifeless eyes of Jesus, and I feel piercing seeing that Jesus is no longer looks at you. Therefore, you place your eyes in those of Jesus, and you take yourself his eyes, his tears, and his bitterness in seeing the offenses of creatures and the many insults and scorns. But I see, my pierced mama, that you kiss his most holy ears, and you call him over and over again, saying, my son, how can it be that you no longer listen to me? You who would hear my slightest motion And now I cry, I call you, and you do not hear me. Oh, love is cruelest tyrant. You were more than my own life for me, and now I will have to survive so much pain. Therefore, oh son, I live my hearing in yours, and I take for myself what you have suffered in your most holy hearing, and the echo of the offenses that resound in it. Only this can give me life, your pains, your sorrows. The divine will imposes itself and gives you motion, and you look at his holy face. You kiss it and exclaim, adored son, how disfigured you are. Oh, if love did not tell me that you are my son, my life, my all, I would not longer recognize you. So unrecognizable you are. Your beauty was transformed into deformity, your cheeks into bruises, and the light, the grace of your face, which was such that seeing you and remaining beatified was the same thing, has turned into the paleness of death. Oh, beloved son, how you are reduced. What an awful crafting sin has made upon your most holy limbs. Ah, how much would you, inseparable mama, wants to give you back your original beauty. I want to fuse my face in yours and take for myself your face and your slaps, the spit, the scorns, and everything you have suffered into your most holy face. Oh, son, if you want me alive, give me your pains. Otherwise, I will die. Lisa explained that her sorrow is immense and inundates her. It suffocates her and leaves her no more life of strength, but the divine will, breaking through these waves, gives life back to her. You are now in the mouth of Jesus. And she says, son, say one last word to your mama. How can it be that I will not longer be able to listen to your voice? All of the wounds you have spoken to me in life, like many arrows, will my heart be with sorrow and with love. And now, seeing you mute, they put themselves emotions once again within the lancet heart. They give me many death as you want to snatch by force one last word from you. But not receiving it, they tormented me, and they say to me, so you will no longer hear him. You will not longer hear his sweet accent, the melody of his creative word. He created as many paradises in me as words that he spoke. All many paradises finish, and I will have nothing but bitterness. Oh, son, I want to give you my tongue in order to animate yours. Give me that which you suffer in the most holy mouth, the bitterness of the gall, your ardent thirst, your reparations and prayers. And so hearing your voice through them, my sorrow will be more bearable, and your mama will be able to live through your pains. Then you take the hands of Jesus between yours. You kiss them, you press them to your heart, and placing your hands in his, you take for yourself the pains and the fearings of those holiest hands. Then you fly over the feet of Jesus, looking at the cruel torture the nails have made in them. And as you place your feet in them, you take yourself those wounds, and you offer yourself to run towards sinners in the place of Jesus in order to snatch them from hell. I see you give the last goodbye to the pierced heart of Jesus. My sorrowful mama, crying, I prayed you not to allow, not for now, that Jesus be taken away from our gaze. Wait for me to first enclose myself in Jesus in order to take his life within me. Enclose the thoughts of Jesus in my mind so that no other thought may enter into me. Enclose the eyes of Jesus within me that he may never escape from my gaze, and his hearing in mine, that I May always listen to him and do his most holy will in everything. Place his face within mine, so that by looking at him so disfigured of love of me, I may love him, compassionate him, and repair. His tongue in mine, that I may speak, pray, and teach with the tongue of Jesus. His hand in mine, so that each movement I make and each work I perform may have life from the works and actions of Jesus. Place his feet in mine, so that each one of my steps may be a life of salvation, of strength, and of zeal for the other creatures. My pierced mother, together with you, I say goodbye to Jesus, and crying, I want to compassionate you and accompany you in your bitter desolation. Most holy, desolate Mary, but I see that you forced to return to Jerusalem along the path from which you came. After only a few steps, you are already before the cross on which Jesus suffers so much and died. You run to embrace it, and seeing it colored with the blood of the pains that Jesus suffered, and it all renewed in your heart one by one, you exclaim, "O cross, how could you be so cruel with my son? You have spared him nothing. What wrong had he done to you? You have not permitted me, his sorrowful mama, to give him even a sip of water while he was asking for it. And to his parched mouth you give him gall and vinegar. I felt my pierced heart melt, and I wanted to offer it to his lips to quench his thirst. But I had the sorrow of seeing myself rejected. O cross, cruel, yes, but holy, because divinized and sanctified by the contact of my son. Turn that cruelty which you use with him into compassion for miserable mortals, and for the sake of the pains he suffered on you. Impetrate grace and strength for the soul who suffered, so that no one of them may be lost because of tribulation and crosses. Soul cost me too much. They cost me the life of a son, God. As a co-redemptrix and mother, I bind them to you, O cross. You throw yourself to the ground and you kiss that blood. I hear you say, my angels, come to the place yourselves as guardians of this blood, so that not one drop of it may be trodden upon and profound. You walk, you find new sorrows everywhere you see traces of blood, and you remember the pains of Jesus. So you hasten your step and enclose yourself in the cenacle. I too enclose myself in the cenacle, but my cenacle is the most holy heart of Jesus. But I feel piercing seeing that as you move your head, you feel the thorns you have taken from Jesus penetrated, the pricks of all of our sins of thought, which penetrating even into your eyes, make you cry tears of blood. Sin, you have the sight of Jesus in your eyes. All the offenses of creatures pass before the sight. You embittered, you remained. How you comprehend all that Jesus has suffered, having his own pains within you. But one pain does not wait for another. As you prick up your ears, you feel defended by the echo of the voices of creatures and from the variety of these offenses which reach your heart and pierce it. And you say, son, how much you have suffered. Desolate mama, how much compassion I feel for you. Allow me to dry your face with my tears and with blood, but I feel like drawing back on seeing it now covered with bruises, unrecognizable and pale. with mortal paleness. I understand these are the mistreatments against Jesus, which you have taken upon yourself, and which make you suffer so much that as you move your lips in prayer, as your inflamed breast sighs, you feel your breath embitter and your lips burning to the thirst of Jesus. Your sorrows increase even more. And as I take your hands in mine, I see them pierced by nails. And it's in your hands that you feel the pain and see the murders, the betrayals, the sacrileges, and all of the evil works, repeating the blows, winding the wounds, and embittering them more and more. All of your pains uniting together, echo in your heart and pierce it, not with 7 swords, but with 1,000 and 1,000 of swords. More so, since you have the divine heart of Jesus within you, which contain all hearts, and whose heartbeat encloses the heartbeats of all. And in beating it says, souls, love. You feel all the sins flow in your heartbeat and death being inflicted on you, while in the heartbeat, love, you feel like being given to you. Therefore, you are in continuous act of death and of life. Crucified Mama, as I looked at you, I compassionate your sorrows. They are unspeakable. And now, desolate Mama, I thank you in the name of all for everything you have suffered. And I ask you, for the sake of your bitter desolation, to come to my assistance. Be the mother of all. These are extreme moments, and great aids are needed. Therefore, do not deny your maternal office to anyone. I pray you to enclose me in the most sacred heart of Jesus, and you, my sorrowful Mama, be my sentry, so that Jesus may not put me out of it, and I, even if I wanted, may not be able to leave. On the Book of Heaven, volume 21st, 16, April 16, 1927, Jesus explained how in her suffering, the Most Holy Virgin found the secret of strength in the divine will. And it says, how could she possibly have so much strength as to be able to leave him? How could her maternal love not consume her, rather than letting her take one step alone away from that extinguished body? And Jesus told her, my dear mother, my dear daughter, do you want to know how my mother had the strength to leave me? All the secret of her strength was in my will, reigning in her. She lived of a will which was divine, not human, and therefore she contained an immeasurable strength. Even more, you must know that when my pierced mother left me in the sepulchre, my will kept her immersed within 2 immense seas, one of sorrow and another more extensive of joys and beatitudes. And while the sorrow gave her all the martyrdoms, that of joys gave her all of the contentments. Her beautiful soul followed me into limbo and was present at the feast that all the patriarchs, the prophets, her father, her mother, and our dear Saint Joseph made for me. Through my present, limbo became paradise, and I could not do without letting the one who had been inseparable from me in my pains participate the first feet of the creatures. Her joy was so great that she had the strength to depart from my body, withdrawing and waiting for the fulfillment of my resurrection, as the fulfillment of redemption. Joy sustained her in sorrow, and sorrow sustained her in joy. To one who possesses my will, neither strength, nor power, nor joy may be lacking. Rather, she has everything at her disposal. Do you not experience this within yourself when you are deprived of me and you feel consumed? The light of the divine fiat forms its seas of happiness and gives you life. Our mother teach Luisa and us in the book The Queen of Heaven and the Kingdom of the Divine Will. And the day 27, she explains to Lisa. Lisa says, "Oh, dear," Mother Mary said, "Oh, dear child, the divine fiat gave him to me, and in the divine fiat I receive him, and now in the same fiat I give him back. My heart is torn, immense seas of sorrow inundates me. I feel life leaving me because of the atrocious spams, but nothing could I deny to the divine fiat. On the contrary, I felt disposed to sacrifice him with my own hands. Had it I wanted so, the strength of the divine will is omnipotent, and I felt such strength by the virtue of it that I will have content myself with dying rather than denying anything to the divine will." She also said, "Yet, dear child, I grieve in saying this, but I must say this to you. In these pains and deep gashes, and in the pains of my beloved son, there was your soul, your human will." She's just pointing that to the soul. "Oh, if the divine fiat has sustained me and continued its course with infinite seas of light and of joy and of happiness, alongside the sea of my bitter sorrows, I will have died as many times for as many pains as my dear son suffered." And she also points out, "I was inseparable from my son. His pains were reflected in my heart, liquefied by sorrow and by love, and I felt them more than if they were my own." She also says, "Dear child, what horror and pain not being able to help my dear Jesus in so many pains. Every pain opened a sea of sorrow in my pierced heart." And she finished with, "Now listen to me in my intense sorrow with the pains of my son. I want to speak to you of the great evils of human will. Look at him in my sorrowful arms, how disfigured he is. He is the true portrait of evils that the human will does to the poor creatures. My dear son wanted to suffer so many pains in order to rise this will again, falling into the abyss of all miseries. Each pain of Jesus and each one of my sorrows call it to rise again in the divine will. Our love was so great that in order to place this human will in safety, we fill it with our pains up to the point of drowning it and enclosing it inside the immense seas of my sorrows and of those of my beloved son. Therefore, on this day of sorrows for our sorrowful mother, and all for you, in return, give me your will into my hands, that I may enclose it in the bleeding wounds of Jesus as the most beautiful victory of his passion and death, and as the triumph of my most bitter sorrow." And in the Book of Heaven, Volume 6, Chapter 1, 133, September 17, 1905, it says, how one can participate in the sorrows of the Queen Mother. And I would like to point out this last one that says, "One who crucifies her senses for the love of my crucifixion and tries to copy the virtues of my crucifixion within herself participates in the fifth one. One who is in continuous attitude of adoring and kissing my wounds, of repairing, of thanking, etc., in the name of all mankind. It is as she our mother, were holding me in her arms, just as my mother held me when I was deposed from the cross. And she participates in the sixth sorrow, one who remains in my grace and corresponds to it, giving a place to no one else but me within her heart. It is as if she buried me in the center of her heart, and she participated in the seventh one. Also, from the Book of Heaven, Volume 10, 24, June 21st, 1911, it says that there is no sanctity if the soul does not die in Jesus. And it says, my daughter, love act powerfully in my mother. Love consumed her completely in me, in my wounds, in my blood, in my very death. And it made her die in my love, and my love consumed in her love the whole of my mother, made her rise again to new love. That is all for my love. So her love made her die, and my love made her rise again to life all in me, of a greater sanctity, of fully divine. Therefore, there is no sanctity in the soul does not die in me. There is no true life if she does not consume all of herself in my love. And from the Book of Heaven as well, I would like to read volume 16, chapter 32, from November 24th, 1923. And it says, oh, how the celestial little one understood this highest sorrow of ours. The great evil of man is withdrawing from our will. Oh, how many times she cried hot tears because of our sorrow and because of the great misfortune of man. This is regarding to my Mother Mary. Therefore, fearing she did not want to concede even one act of life to her own will. This is why she remained little, because her will had no life in her. How beautiful, right? It says, do you see then why that food, the most loving mother, nourishes her children? It caused her all her life, unheard of pain, the very life of her son, to form within herself the abundant deposit of his food of my will, and to keep it ready to nourish all her children as a tender and loving mother. She could not love her children more by giving them this food. Her love had reached the ultimate degree. Therefore, among the many titles that she has, the most beautiful title that could be given to her is of the Mother and Queen of the Divine Will. You will must have no life in you, and making all the acts of my will for each creature your own. You will deposit them within yourself, and while repaying my will in the name of all, you will form within yourself all the necessary food to nourish all their generation with the food of my will. That is saying that to Luisa. Then he says, everything I tell you about my volition will serve to whet their appetite, and so that they may take no other food at the cost of any sacrifice. And it says, therefore be attentive, receive within yourself the deposit of my will, so that as a second mother, you may prepare the food for our children. What lessons do we have? Jesus is buried, and a stone seals him and prevents his mother from looking at her son any longer. Most holy, desolate mother, with this act, we must ask ourselves, do we have our gazes of creatures? Are we indifferent if everyone forget us? In holy things, do we remain indifferent with that holy indifference which make us never disobey? In the total abandonment of Jesus, do we conquer everything with a holy indifference that lead us continuously to him? Do we form with our constancy a sweet chain to draw him toward us? Is our gaze buried in the gaze of Jesus, so that we look at nothing but that which Jesus wants? Is our voice buried in the voice of Jesus, that as we speak, but as we want to speak, we do not speak but with the tongue of Jesus? As your steps buried in his, so that we, as we walk, we may leave the mark of the step of Jesus, not of our own. It is the heart buried in his, in order to love and desire as his heart loves and desires. Pray, Mama, when Jesus hides from me and from the good of my soul, give me the grace that you had in the privation of Jesus, so that I may give him all the glory that you gave him when he was placed in the sepulchre. Oh, Jesus, I want to pray to you with your voice, and just as your voice penetrates the heavens and resound in the voices of all, into the same way, honoring your voice, may my voice penetrate even into heaven, to give you the love and the glory of your own word. My Jesus, my heart palpitates, but I am not content if you do not let me palpitate with your heart, with your heartbeat. I will love as you love. I will give you the love of all creatures, and one will be the cry, love, love. Oh, my Jesus, give me honor to yourself, and in everything I do, place the seal of your own power, of your love, and of your glory. And there's a question, and I want you to watch this beautiful video. And it says, Mary, did you know?
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? And this child that you delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would give sight to the blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? And when you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. Oh, Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know? The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? And the sleeping child you're holding is the great
And the answer is, yes, Mother Mary knows, since she is our mother and queen of the divine will. Jesus and Mary, to you I give my heart and my soul. Let's recall the analogy between Eden and Calvary. A kingdom cannot be formed with one act alone. Necessity of death and resurrection of our Lord, from the Book of Heaven, Volume 24, 6, April 8, 1928. And Jesus says, my daughter, Calvary is the new Eden in which mankind was given back what is lost by withdrawing from my will. Analogy between Calvary and Eden. In Eden, man lost grace, and on Calvary he acquires it. In Eden, heaven was closed to him. He lost his happiness and rendered himself the slave of the infernal enemy. Here in the new Eden, heaven is open to him once again. He reacquires the lost peace and happiness. The devil is chained, and man is freed from his slavery. In Eden, the sun of the divine fiat darkens and withdrew, and it became always nighttime for the man, symbolized by the sun which withdrew from the face of the earth during the 3 hours of my terrible agony on the cross. Unable to sustain the torment of his creator, caused by the human will, which with great perfidy had reduced my humanity to the state, horrified, the sun withdrew, and as I breathed my last, it reappear again and continue its course of light. In the same way, the sun of my fiat, my pains, my death, called back the new sun of my will to reign in the midst of creatures once again. So Calvary formed the dawn that called the sun of my eternal will to shine again in the midst of creatures. Dawn means a certainty that the sun will come out. In the same way, the dawn which I form on Calvary assures, even though about 2,000 years have passed, that it will call the sun of my will to reign once again in the midst of creatures. In Eden, my love was defeated by them. Here it triumphs and conquers the creature. In the first Eden, man received the condemnation to death of the soul and body, while in the second Eden, he is released from his condemnation, and the resurrection of the body is reconfirmed through the resurrection of my humanity. There are many relations between Eden and Calvary, and what man lost there, here he reacquires. In my kingdom of pains, everything is given back, and the honor and the glory of the poor creature is reconfirmed by the means of my pains and death, and my death. By withdrawing from my will, man formed the kingdom of his evils, his weakness, his passions and miseries. And I wanted to come upon the earth. I want to suffer greatly. I permitted that my humanity be lanced, its flesh torn in pieces and full of wounds. And I wanted even to die in order to form, by the means of my many pains and my death, the kingdom opposite to the many evils that the creature has formed for herself. A kingdom cannot be formed with one act alone, but with many upon many acts. And the more the acts, the greater and more glorious the kingdom becomes. Therefore, my daughter, was necessary to my love with my death, I was to give the keys of life to the creatures and form my many wombs. I was to let all goods out in order to form the kingdom of goods for the creatures. So my wombs are spring which gush with goods, and my death is spring from which life for all gushes forth. And just as my death was necessary, so my resurrection necessary to my love, because by doing his will, man lost the life of my will. And I wanted to rise again to form not only the resurrection of the body, but the resurrection of the life of my will in it. Had I not risen again, the creature could not have risen once again in my fiat. She would have lacked the virtue, the bond of her resurrection in mine. Therefore, my love would have felt incomplete. It would have felt it could do more, but was not doing it. And so I will have remained with the heart martyrdom of my love that is not complete. If then ungrateful man does not make use of all I have done, the evil is all his own. But my love possesses and enjoy its full triumph. And that is all for the meditation on the 23rd and 24th hour. Any comments, any that you would like to provide?
Just to be very brief, right? What I take from this hour, from this last hour, is that is the exchange of life that Mother Mary did with her son. And that exchange of life was the one that Luisa asked her to give her. So Mother Mary is the point of union between Jesus and us.
Yes.
She has been given all the graces. All the graces have been deposited in her, and all the graces we should get from her. But she only asks one thing from us, is our will. That's all. So all these 24 hours of that we have been meditating, the 24 hours of the Passion of Christ, is like just accompany Jesus and Mary and Luisa in all those hours with the same intention that Jesus did throughout all those 24 hours. And knowing that if we unite ourselves, if we exchange our lives with the life of Jesus, he will repeat what he did, and all the effects will not only be for us, but will be for all mankind. And that's what we should always think, that every time we do these meditations, it's not doing them, it's living them. Because if we live them, is saying, yes, I give you my life and you give me your life so I can continue living just like Mother Mary did. And it's beautiful. Thank you for the beautiful song.
Thank you.
That was not, I haven't heard that song before. I don't know if someone else wants to say something.
So Mary is showing us the way. So we need to do what she was doing.
Mm.
She was taking his tongue, his mouth, his eyes. She's the model to follow. Do as she did.
Mhm. Perfect.
And it's beautiful because us as mother, I'm a mother of an only child. My son is it's a man already. He's 26, And it's understanding that love of Mary toward us as our mother and as Jesus to us, it's beautiful. And she is kind of like when we read the book of the Queen of Heaven, she's kind of like she's taking us to that path that we have to, and she's only requesting our will. That's the only thing that I'm requesting. I'm requesting your will. Give it to me, and I will give you the.
So
Give
from
you-
today on, we should always like try to do what Luisa did, that she did every day, the 24th hour of the Passion. Maybe not reading it or meditating it through the book, but knowing what she did, just like what Penelope said, what she did, we should do. And that is repeating that 24-hour with her. So the graces that we're going to receive, the effects that we're going to receive, is not only for us, it's going to be extended to all generations. So my brothers and sisters, if there's nothing else, we will see you next Wednesday. And we're going to start with
I want to add something.
oh, sorry.
Finish
Yes, sure.
this 24 hours. Thank you for all these guys. Well, with the divine will, we can take everything, and we can take the tenderness and happiness that our mother gave to Jesus, and take all the reparations she made to become co-redeemers with our mother loves. And I think this is incredible because we take part in everything, and they share everything with us. So remember this, with the divine will, we can take everything. For example, take the life of Jesus to accompany our mother in that loneliness. That's beautiful. And bring comfort to our mother heart. So that's all. We can take everything. Just remember that. With the divine will, we can take everything. Everything.
That's beautiful. Take everything and give everything, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Patricia.
Yes. Well, I would just it's not too many words, not much words to add, but just absolutely taking in count this 24-hour and just struck me about the 3 wounds of our Lord Jesus, right? And how I took note of 2, the ingratitude, the second one, and the the third, and just the tender love of Mary, our mother, is and that's why is telling us Jesus that just that 24 hours his passion is to keep the equilibrio, is the balance on the world, and I apply that to every single day, in one only act. Since the time that I rise in the morning, at the time I lay down, just live that day by day, with through him, in him, and with him. And indeed, also in our Blessed Mother, in our sweet mama, that I really love how Luisa always called sweet mama to Mary, and just striving to do his will, his divine will. So just looking at her, being with her. Thank you. Beautiful.
Oh, Guadalupe or Gabi?
I was looking in the book of 39 from May 31, 1935, and I was looking some parts that goes exactly to this, because the title is How Redemption and the Kingdom Are Inseparable. And if you let me read some of them.
Sure.
Jesus says, now, by coming upon earth, suffering and dying, I came to bring man to safety. That is my dwelling. And the other, it says, my daughter, it would be absurd and without the order of our infinite wisdom, redemption and the kingdom of my will are one single thing, inseparable from each other. My coming upon earth came to form the redemption of man, and at the same time, it came to form the kingdom of my will in order to save myself. So these last words signifies a lot. The objective of all his passion, all his suffering. So with everything he suffers, he is bringing us to safety. And the last words that were written in the reading that Leticia shared with us, he says almost like this: everything is done. Everything depends on you, creatures. So it's unbelievable that we are reading this and that we are living in this time, because he also says, and Leticia shared with us too, that the first Eden, who finished in the darkness, if I can say like this, is represented by Calvary, which is the second Eden, that everything is reversed. And obviously, we didn't know that. And we should to assimilate it every day of our life.
Mhm.
This is what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, Guadalupe. Well, then, let's leave it up to here. And next Wednesday, we're going to start the extraordinary life of the ordinary Luisa. And I'm sure that we're not going to finish that in only one session, but I'm sure that we're all going to learn a lot about Luisa, a lot about her life, a lot of what the divine will did in her, of the transformation that she had, and what she received. The gift that she received is a gift that is extended to us, and we're going to learn all that. Well, thank you so very much for being with us. We'll see you next Wednesday.